Sainers, welcome back to the Saints TV YouTube channel. Hope you're all having a great week so far. It's been 4 or 5 days since my last video, the training video. If you haven't watched that, check that out. There should be more of that coming soon. We're like, a month and a bit out from round 1 for us, March 16th. It's Feb 4, not far off. And you'd think the news would be kind of built around the season and the practice games and injuries and preseason training. But nope, Sam Edmund has dropped an absolute bomb this morning. And by bomb, I mean, it's just crazy news. I mean news, but it's just weird timing. And I wouldn't read too much into it if I were you. But it's topical, it's Saints related, and it's fairly big, so we'll talk about it here. He mentions that St Kilda has tabled an enormous offer to Carlton's Tom de Koning, TDK, the gun ruck, backman forward. Whatever Carlton want him to do, he does it. I remember watching the elimination final against Brisbane when they were being absolutely pantsed, and he was the sub, I think. And they subbed him on in the second half, and immediately the game they lost, but they played so much better with him in the team. So the value that he has to Carlton is enormous, and they don't want to be losing a player of his quality at his age, just 25, 201 centimetres, and is incredibly versatile for a player of that size, and they're hard to find. So you can see why maybe he's jumped out to us. We've lost battle. We're still up in the air on exactly what we want to do with our ruck stocks, with Rowan Marshall, with our forward structure. And he's a player that's going to be in demand next season because he is out of contract. And Carlton have salary cap problems. They have a lot of players that are on very good money. And they're going to struggle to match whatever us or Brisbane or other clubs are going to be offering. Apparently, we have offered him $1.7 million. Apparently. Again, how much can you believe in February? You know? Would I offer him 1.7? I don't know. But supposedly, let's just go with the story. Sam Edmund says we have. And it's going to be roughly a $12 million contract over 7 years, supposedly, which is way more than what Carlton would possibly be able to offer. Apparently, Carlton can only offer maybe $1 million, $1.1 million. So if a club, whether it's St Kilda or not, comes in and is offering $1.6, $1.7 million, that is over $500,000 more per season. You put that over 7 years, you do the math, that is a lot of guaranteed money. Whereas Carlton would be going for more incentivized sort of structure where it's $1 million and then change on the side, whether it's sponsorships or incentives or whatever. There would be things on the side that maybe would bump it up, but not upfront, not guaranteed like it would be at maybe a St Kilda. And we know we've got money. There is a war chest. We've talked about it. LDU is on the radar. TDK, they talk about Brayshaw. There's many players that I think we should be looking at. Do I think a ruckman like that would be of interest? I think it would be valuable. At that price, I don't know. I think he would be a very valuable player for us. But let's look at sort of his stats. That's just my opinion on it. I think we would get by without a Tom de Koning, but also at the same time, if we did manage to get him, he would be a massive asset to us and would kind of offer another dimension to our team, because as much as I love Rowan Marshall, and obviously we've got some young rucks coming through, unproven, we don't know how they're going to go. I think Tom de Koning around the competition is, I think respected in the way that he's just incredibly versatile and a very good footballer. I think he's a very good player. I think he's a very good player. And when I watch Carlton, there's only, obviously, when you move Cripps aside and Curnow aside and Wiedering, Tom de Koning is probably the next one in line where I'm like, I'd take him. I'd absolutely take him. I think it'd be silly not to. But you don't want to be paying ridiculous amounts for one player. And how much is that going to affect the rest of the playing group? We still haven't signed Nasiah. Max King is on a giant contract. There's a lot of moving parts to this. So I don't think it's obviously never as clear as they kind of explain it in the papers. And it's obviously not even close to a done deal. Whether it even is something that's being talked about behind the scenes, I got no idea. So his stats from 2024: disposals above average, kicks above average, handballs above average, total clearances above average, hitouts below average, because I don't know if he played ruck like permanently. I have to check with Carlton people, but I think maybe he was moved around quite a bit. Hitouts to advantage below average. So very similar to Rowan Marshall in that around the ground, he is exceptional, gets a lot of the ball, but in terms of general, like actual ruck craft, he's not your pure ruckman. He's almost a big-bodied mid. Like he's a big, tall mid. And that's kind of how I see Rowan Marshall. So is it worth having two of them? I don't know. I've always thought if we're going to get a ruck, we want someone that can do what Rowan can't to kind of balance it out, which maybe Harry Boyd can do, but again, unproven. We need to see this season. And maybe if Harry Boyd takes the game by storm, maybe this supposed interest in someone like TDK might dwindle, because then maybe we've found someone internally and we don't need to splash the cash on that. We'd focus on a mid, because I think we all just want us to get a gun mid. If it's LDU, outstanding. If it's not, there's got to be someone else, or maybe a couple of other lesser known options that we could bring in or look at. What else is above average? AFL Fantasy. That's about it. Career highs. He had 25 disposals against Geelong. He had a massive game against Geelong, round 15. Most of his top season performances or career highs were against Geelong in round 15. So I think that's when they pantsed them. So he had a good day then. Not hitting the scoreboard very much. 9 goals, 10 behinds. 9 goals, 7 behinds, 2023. 4 goals, 6, 2022. So clearly he's not being played forward that much. I don't know exactly where we would play him. Would he be just him and Rowan Marshall as a dual ruck? But then you've got Harry Boyd and Dodson and Max Heath unproven. I mean, that's a lot of ruck stocks all of a sudden, and a lot of them that we don't know if they're going to be any good. So that's a bit of a risk to throw that much money at maybe a position that's got a lot of options. But if he's going to maybe potentially partner a Max King, could be exciting, and then leave Rowan Marshall and Boyd to do sort of the pure ruck and have him be a forward with King, could be quite dangerous. Or if Caminiti doesn't work down back, he can probably play centre-half back, Tom de Koning, potentially. I suppose you could use the argument that if he's available and he wants to come and he's a good player, you get him. That's it. It's as simple as that. You just get best available, and if he's the best out-of-contract player at the time, that might force our hand. We just go for it. And it kind of hurts Carlton, who are in that same boat as us, where it's like, I mean, they're a bit ahead of us in terms of the fact that they've made a prelim recently. They've got the Brownlow medalist. They've got the Coleman medalist. And a lot of external people think they're going to climb into the top 4 and be a flag fancy. You do hurt them by taking away one of their prized assets. So you can't discount that. Obviously, you don't just get players to hurt opposition. You want them to benefit you. But if hurts them, benefits us, it kind of shifts things a little bit. So I don't know. It could be interesting. But I know that Carlton fans don't want him to leave. I have got a couple of comments here. A lot of them think that they'll get like really good compensation. Obviously, if it's a ridiculous amount that we are offering or a club's offering, some of them think that it's just can't see him going to the Saints. This is on the Carlton board, by the way. I'd reject St Kilda if they offered me the same money. We better win the flag in 2025, and TDK needs to remember that 50% goes to the ATO. I can't see that reported figure as even close to being true. Well, if I'm Carlton, I won't be matching that contract. I couldn't imagine they'd even be able to, even if they wanted to. I don't know if they could. They've got so many players on such big contracts. I don't think they would be able to. This person says, I've always found it interesting when reports like this get leaked. Sure, it's a signal of intent from the club, but it's not a great look if you don't land the player. Also sends the wrong message to the playing group that we've got cash to splash, but not on you. Good clubs simply don't put this stuff out there. They quietly go about their business and just get deals done. I assume it's the player's manager doing the leaking. They'd be looking to get other clubs biting and putting pressure on the current club. That's what I've always thought. I've always thought anytime these stories come out, it's probably TDK's manager and he's putting pressure on Carlton to go, hey, let's bump this up a little bit. That's kind of what I think. I don't know if this is something deliberately leaked by St Kilda. I couldn't imagine if that would be the case. But it's a lot of money. It's TDK, it's Carlton, it's St Kilda. What do you guys think? I am sort of need to think about it a little bit more. It's a lot of money, supposedly. I'm just taking this on face value. If we delve a little deeper, obviously it's probably bullshit. But hypothetically, if TDK was unsigned at the back end of this season, we had the money. Saints fans, would you want to see him at St Kilda? Put it in the comments. I think I'll close the video on that. Thanks again, Sainers. Enjoy the rest of your week. And as always, go you mighty Sainers. See you guys.